Yeah, Duke's good.
That was Brad Underwood after Duke beat Illinois 110-67 in Madison Square Garden. It is one of Duke's 27 wins on the year so far, and 24 of them have come by double digits. Duke isn't just beating the competition, they are destroying them for 40 minutes. Duke has won 5 titles in the last 35 years, and this team is looking to add their 6th. There's some evidence to support that claim that I'll talk about later in the video. This roster is just extremely talented, obviously led by Cooper Flagg, the projected #1 overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft, also the favorite at this point to win National Player of the Year. Cooper Flagg is having one of the best seasons that we have seen in college basketball history. He's averaging 19.3 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4.1 assists, over a steal and a block, efficient from the field. He can do a little bit of everything, and he has lived up to the hype of being a true superstar for this Duke squad. It isn't just Cooper Flagg though. Con Knipple is kind of the Robin to Cooper being Batman. He's averaging 13.5 points and 3.9 rebounds, also another freshman, but it isn't just those 2 freshmen either. This is an incredibly deep roster that at times can play up to 9 or 10 guys in their rotation. Tyrese Proctor is kind of the 3rd scorer, with bringing some of the upperclassmen leadership. He can facilitate a bit, he can defend, and you got guys like Kaman Malawach, who is an elite rim protector, elite finisher at the rim, Sion James, Isaiah Evans, Mason Gills. You can go up and down the roster, and you can just look through these guys and realize that all of them provide their own things, and they also fit really, really well together. And now when you look at their team stats here, that's part of why they are so good pretty much everywhere across the board. They're top 15 in 3-point percentage. They're top 15 in 2-point percentage. They're the 2nd best 2-point percentage defense in the country, while also being top 30 in terms of 3-point percentage. They rebound the ball super well on both sides of the floor. They don't turn it over. You just go up and down this roster and these stats, and there's not really too much of a hole that you can pick at with any of them. So what's the case for the Duke Blue Devils winning it all? Now, there's one thing I'll reference a little bit later, but one big stat that I think helps for their case is that there have been only 9 teams in KenPom's history that have been both top 5 in offense and defense heading into the tournament. Duke fits that category. Now, if we look at what the teams in the past have done, out of those 9, 4 have won it all. That is close to a 50% hit rate, which is a pretty high hit rate for such a high variance tournament. Another loss in the championship, another loss in the Final Four. There's only one team that did not make the Sweet 16 at least, and that was 2010 Kansas. So this is really, really good company for Duke to be in, and they are going to be top 5 in both offense and defense come the start of the tournament. They also have the #1 offensive rating in college basketball history per StatHead. Goes back to, I believe, 1986. You can see here, right, there's a couple teams from this season, but Duke is the top by a little bit of a margin. Now, if we adjust for schedules, which is what KenPom does, Duke still has the 2nd best offensive rating in college basketball history, only behind Auburn this season. Sticking with the offense for now, what makes it so elite is starting with the 3-point line. They take 45.5% of their shots from 3, and they are making 38.5% of them, which is the 11th best rate in the entire country. If you go just back to the last 10 games, they are shooting 42.1% from 3, which would be the #1 rate in the country. But it isn't just 3-point shooting in that they have to bomb from 3. They have balanced scoring. They shoot 57.6% from 2, which is 13th best in the country. And if we look at their shot chart right here, you can tell that they are one of the teams that can just end up winning the math game. On the left is their field goal percentage by area, and on the right is their field goal attempt percentage by area. They shoot a lot of 3s and they shoot a lot of shots at the rim. They are efficient from everywhere, and it just makes it very hard to stop them because they're going to get to the rim, they're going to shoot 3s. Even when you do force them to take a mid-range though, they have been really, really good compared to the rest of the D1 in that area as well. And they run a lot of good sets. They have Cooper Flagg that they're going to do a lot through, but it isn't just him. And John Shire, I think, has done really, really good with this offense. There really is just not too much wasted movement offensively with what they want to do. And they have actions stacked on top of actions. And so what I mean by that is that when one action doesn't work, that means they're going to flow into something completely different, and they're going to probably get something to work eventually. And that's part of the reason why they have the best offensive rating in college basketball history. We're going to look at a couple of their staple sets right here, and just to talk about a little bit of that variety that they have and being able to stack actions on top of each other. We're going to start here, this pin down action. They love to start here with this keep. They flip it and then go immediately into a flare screen. You're going to see right here is able to knock it down. Now this next play is going to be the same exact type action to start. This pin down, keep, you pass, and now it's this flare screen. Now Pitt does a good job of getting through, and so this immediately becomes Ricky action, or wiper action, which is just going to be basically the rescreen to curl back. Now that happens, Pitt messes up this time to put 2 on the ball. You can see there's no help at the rim. Now Malawach is able to just go up and dunk it. So they have just things like that where if you are able to stop the first action, they'll immediately flow into the next one, and it makes it tough. Now their off-ball movement in general, I think, is really what sets them apart. They are really, really good at being able to move off ball, love running off flares, and just being able to create gaps and create opportunities from them. We're going to look here. So there's a high pick and roll from Flagg. You get the skip pass to the corner, and now the drive. And notice Flagg right here. As this drive happens, Notre Dame's going to rotate their defense, and now Flagg is just going to kind of cut and dive to the rim, and now he's going to be able to finish. And their cuts have been so good in terms of being able to create space. They time them super, super well, and it makes it really hard to guard. This post up, and now they're just going to screen on the weak side block for Malawach. Again, this puts defenses in really tough spots. Malawach is awesome. He's been shooting almost 80% at the rim on the season, and now he's able to just go up, finish this dunk there. They also really love running stuff out of pin down. So we showed the first couple, right? The pin down keeps. And now right here, you're going to see this rip screen into a pin down. Syracuse gets lost, wide open 3. And they love running these pin down looks. Again, right here, this another pin down in the corner. He's going to curl this one. Wofford's going to put 2 on the ball, give it up to Malawach. Easy dunk at the rim. They also have this right here where they'll run pick and roll too, and it's so right. The off-ball movement is what sets up their offense, but they still can run pick and roll. They can still create out of it. And so we're going to look through a couple here. You have this empty corner pick and roll where now it's going to come off. You put 2 on the ball. With it being empty corner, there's really no weak side help at the rim. Now he's able to go up and get the dunk at the rim. And also, I think Cooper Flagg's ability to both handle the ball and create off ball or be the screener really helps. So you're going to see here, high ball screen. George Mason's going to try to go under. Flagg just immediately pops it. Now we're going to look at this next play, and Flagg's now the one setting the screen in this empty corner pick and roll. So now as he rolls, you're going to see Clemson kind of put 2 on the ball, or it was a late switch, and now Flagg's going to catch it on the roll, and from here, he can absorb the defense, and now you get a kick out 3 to Conklin-Nipple, one of the better shooters in the entire country. So it is just elite offense that they are able to run and able to do effectively pretty much throughout the entirety of the game. So I just talked about the offense for a while, but if we remember just back a little bit ago, this is also a top 5 defense that Duke has. And when looking at the defense, they just have elite talent everywhere. And there are a few things that I think they do really, really well, which sets them up for success. And the first being they just rarely allow teams to get out and run. They have one of the lowest defensive transition rates in the entire country. They also have the second longest defensive possessions in the entire country, only behind Clemson. They make teams work for basically the full 30 seconds, and they got elite defenders everywhere. Just for an example, with Cooper Flagg and Sion James on the floor this season, Duke has an 89.3 defensive rating, which would be the best in the entire country. If we look at the shot chart, it makes sense. This on the left, once again, is the field goal percentage by area, and on the right is the field goal attempt percentage by area. And if we compare that back to their offensive charts, the percentage of shots by region is almost just inverted, where they force teams to take an insane amount of mid-range shots. They allow very few shots at the rim, and then also they still defend everywhere very, very well. So they are one of the best three-point defenses in the country. They're also number 2 in defensive two-point percentage in the entire country, and the versatility that they have really, really stands out to me. They can switch basically everything almost all the time. 1 through 4 for sure. They can play drop with their 5-man. They can blitz with their 5-man. They can switch with their 5-man. There's lots of good individual defenders, and they have size pretty much everywhere. They are the tallest team in the entire country. You look through the rotation, nobody is shorter than 6'5", and that's only one player. Everybody pretty much is 6'6" or above. They're elite defensively against pick and roll, and so they force a lot of ISOs by killing any actions that they switch off ball. And let's just go through a few examples here. Very, very first possession of this game against Illinois, they're going to blitz. And now you can see Yakuchonis gets pushed all the way back out to half court, and he almost commits an over the back right here. He is able to get through eventually, and now from there, Duke kind of recovers, and it's just one-on-one, good defense again. And so you can just see here, right, that Duke has the versatility to be able to do lots of things. They have no real option here from Illinois. He has to drive, kick out, there to defend the three. Now you get to go the other way, but that isn't something that they have to do every single time. If we look here, you're going to initially switch this first action, and now off of this screen right here, they're able to get through, and now it's pick and roll where you are having Duke be in drop coverage, force the mid-range shot. So that first possession we showed the blitz, the second possession we showed some switching and then drop coverage, and then on this play right here against Auburn, they're just going to switch basically everything. Right here off this Iverson screen, switch, now this out switch, there's going to be across here, switching that as well. You can show help, and now what it does is it turns offenses into having to be one-on-one isolation offenses, and Duke has good defenders to be able to do that. And so it just makes it really, really tough to have to be able to try and create against this defense, because it's just really, really hard to create any sort of advantage and maintain it. And so the biggest case that I think Duke has for them is that in KenPom's history, going back to 2001, this Duke team has the highest rating pre-tournament of any team in that database. Looking at the pre-tournament data, here are the top 10 teams in KenPom's database and what they did. Now you can see 3 won the championship, 7 out of the 10 made the championship, and 8 out of the 10 made the Final Four. Duke has a better rating than all of these teams. So this is a really, really good group to be in, and it shows that there is continuous success pretty much from these teams that have been so dominant in the regular season. Now, I think the biggest argument that people will make against Duke, and it is a fair one, is that Duke relies heavily on freshmen. There are 3 freshmen starting, 2 more in the rotation off the bench, and you don't have to go back too far in even Duke's history to see another team that was really hyped, relied on freshmen, didn't quite make it to the Final Four, and that was the 2019 team featuring the 4 freshmen in the rotation, although they did almost make the Final Four. We can't just ignore that part as well. Duke has all the talent to win. Their offense is elite. Their defense is elite. They have just been absolutely dominant this season. At this point, though, you just got to go out and do it, and that's what makes March Madness so fun.